Hi, I'm Michelle Mason.
And my name is Hester Baer, and we are both on the faculty of the University of Maryland, College Park, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. I am a professor of German and cinema and media studies, and I'm the author of several books, including German Cinema in the Age of Neoliberalism, which is forthcoming from Amsterdam University Press. And I also serve currently as the co-editor of the journal Feminist German Studies.
And I'm a professor of Japanese cultural studies. My first two books address Japanese colonialism, including Reading Colonial Japan, Text, Context, and Critique. I've also published articles on manga or Japanese graphic novels, and I teach and write about US atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and currently am working on two projects related to nuclear issues. The one I want to highlight today is the joint project with Hester. Since 2017, we have been working on a multifaceted project entitled Nuclear Futures in the Post-Fukushima Age. We have co-taught a graduate seminar, hosted a conference, and now we're working on a co-edited volume. We very much enjoy the collaborative process and have given lectures together, written blog posts, and spearheaded an environmental humanities working group here on our campus.
So the collaborative nature of our project speaks directly to the question of what nuclear narratives mean to us. As a form of power, energy, and weaponry, and as an ecological threat, the nuclear defies containment within the boundaries of any nation state, just as it resists comprehension within human timescales. And as such, we are especially interested in narratives that attend to the spatio-temporal challenges of representing the nuclear, making palpable what is invisible to the eye and imperceptible to the mind through imaginative interventions into aesthetic form. Specifically, our work focuses on transnational texts that fuse multiple languages, varied temporalities, and diverse cultural tropes, and that often employ phantasms and ghosts as figures for narrativizing the nuclear.
As the title of our collaborative volume, Nuclear Futures in the Post-Fukushima Age, suggests, we frame our current work around the devastating nuclear meltdowns in Fukushima in 2011, which inspired Chancellor Angela Merkel to announce the decommissioning of all German nuclear power plants by 2022. Even before Fukushima, German and Japanese novelists, poets, filmmakers, and dramatists had been crafting powerful and deeply human narratives that countered both nuclear power and nuclear weapons, relying on their specific histories and differing attitudes towards nuclear issues. On the one hand, there's Japan's history in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as the deathly fallout of the US Castle Bravo atomic test in 1954 that gave birth to Godzilla. On the other hand, Germany's alarming experience as ground zero for the Cold War era nuclear arms race, followed by its disturbing encounter with Chernobyl fallout, has fostered an especially creative anti-nuclear movement, as well as a robust history of aesthetic engagement with atomic issues.
And we just want to show a couple images in the last part of our presentation. So these cultural trajectories that we've been talking about are exemplified by the figure of Tawada Yoko, the Japanese-born author who has lived now for more than half of her life in Germany. She writes on nuclear disasters in both Japanese and German, and she often intertwines both of these languages together within one single work, offering a speculative and very transnational vision that merges critical discourses arising from the conjunction of German and Japanese cultures. Tawada's post-monolingual texts defy linguistic boundaries while calling our attention to the way language constructs reality. And her work, The Emissary, which we are showing here, published in 2014 and then translated into English in a prize-winning translation in 2018, envisions a post-catastrophe Japan that has sealed itself off from the world. Well, the world that Tawada describes in this work is highly disturbing and precarious. This genre-defying text also resists the binary of dystopian versus utopian by considering not only the catastrophic consequences, but also the unforeseen opportunities afforded by the destruction of traditional social frameworks.
So the paper we hope to be able to present in Sweden next year is based on our jointly written chapter on the German-Japanese co-produced film, Fukushima Mon Amour. We have a few slides. That's Grüße aus Fukushima, literally greetings from Fukushima in German, and that came out in 2016. This tragic comedy, directed by the German filmmaker Doris Dörrie, was the very first feature film shot in the deserted exclusion zone after the 2011 triple disaster.
Our paper investigates the formal and thematic strategies of narrative filmmaking in portraying the intangible traumas, memories, and realities of nuclear disaster. The English title of the film, Fukushima Mon Amour, cites its deliberate intertextual resonance with Alain René's art house classic from 1959, Hiroshima Mon Amour. Like its French New Wave predecessor, Fukushima Mon Amour depicts the politics of place and the jumbled temporalities of nuclear catastrophe through interlaced narrative timelines featuring extensive flashbacks. And it also jumbles up languages and timelines. Attending specifically to the figure of haunting, we consider how the spectral images, including ghostly characters as well as revenant cultural tropes that punctuate the film, engage the invisible yet indelible phantasms of nuclear pasts to counter the fantasies of utopian atomic futures. And here you can see a screen grab from the film that highlights the way that ghosts layer in on top of documentation of the triple disaster. So coming together as scholars of German and Japanese studies, we draw on critical engagements with the atomic imaginary in order ultimately to contest dominant narratives of the nuclear, also in the public sphere, including both specious promotions of atomic power as a clean energy source and assertions of tidy techno fixes that will solve our energy and environmental crises without radical changes to our political, economic systems, modes of daily life, and conceptualizations of the places of humans in our environment.
So that's what we hope to be presenting this summer. We very much look forward to meeting other scholars to learn from everybody and to share our work with everybody. So here's hoping to be able to do so in person next August. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, bye.